Okay, so after you've had a look at the video about the introduction and activation, understood the video that explains the environment and the bits and the processes that are involved, and this video is just going to show you running through a demo. In the first release of this VHD, there was a bug that I had included around some security. So first, just go and verify a few watchouts that you just need to check up on before you run the demo. The first is on the smart objects, the service object tester. Just go to service objects, go to the CRM service, just right click on that, edit service instance, and make sure that's set to impersonate. It might have been set on your machine to static with some hard-coded details. Just make sure that that is sitting on impersonate, and then just hit next and hit the update button, and that might take a few seconds, and that should recycle that service. And then either do you might need to restart the machine if that doesn't take, but I think just doing that should be enough. The other thing that you need to just watch out for is that info path. When it first connects to the service, it might time out, so just make sure that you've warmed up the environment. Maybe open up the info path form once. Try to connect to the CRM service at least once before running to the demo, just to make sure those instances are warmed up. Okay, so just to start this off, to run an example of the demo, just going to SharePoint and go to the complaints management portal. So that's a site collection specifically for this environment. And then from within inside here, what you're going to do is go and create a new complaint. That opens up info path form. Inside here I'll write Bob, do a search, and we find we've got Bob Gale, which fetches his information out of CRM. So if you go into CRM beforehand and you maybe change some details, you'll see that information being pulled through. I'll just go and choose a complaint category. Let's say he's complaining about a staff member, and I'll say the sales assistant was rude. Okay, submit, and then that'll go and start the K2 workflow process that's going to go and create the new complaint. So to refresh it, just hit the refresh, just click on the tab at the top here just to get the page to refresh. We can see there that complaint number 17 has started. Takes a few seconds. If I hit refresh again, we should see there the complaint is now ready to be clicked on. I've got a task showing me that because I've logged in as administrator, or whoever it is at the start of the process, then I have a task that they need to perform. You can either complete the task from within inside here. They don't have to actually go and open up the case folder, but it's better to demo in clicking on the case folder, going into the actual case itself, so into the details of the complaint, and from within inside here they can then go and interact with it. So they're busy dealing with a complaint about Bob Gale, about an assistant being rude. From here they can see the actions they can perform. They can see where we are in the current process. We've got one process that's running, the main process around processing of this complaint, and they can go inside here and say, well, going to start so he's going to start the investigation, adds a comment to the case, and while he has a look at that, he realizes that the company policy is to send compensation when somebody's rude, so we're going to pay this person out. But to do that, he needs to go and start a BPM process. So he's busy working in a case process at the moment, and he wants to go and in his own leisure go and spawn off another process and have that attached to this case, to this complaint. So the process that I'm going to start off here is the only one that I've implemented in this demo, is this request compensation approval. So I'll click on that, and it opens up a form where I can specify, from the customer services department, we want to request £50 to be paid out. I'll just use the previous comment, going to pay him off. And in my comments over here, these are my internal comments. I'm going to say started approval request. That's good enough for now. Submit that off. So essentially what that does is it goes and it starts a process around that compensation. I can see my comments being added to the case folder already, and if I give this page a refresh, what you'll notice is that it's actually removed the action from my case. So that request compensation has now been taken off because we have a compensation process now running. So I can see there's one running, and if I drill down into that, I can see it's been running for 35 seconds. If I look at the link, I can see what that process looks like. And it's busy going through all the steps. And again, once it's finally approved, so just let that run for a few seconds. It's just updated SAP. Again, just a dummy process behind the scenes here. And once that's approved, if I give my page now a refresh, what we'll see there is that that action's been put back into the case, because now I can request it again. Again, just to illustrate how you can override these actions at runtime based upon things that are happening part of the case. I can also see that my compensation approval is now completed. And again, clicking through there, I can see the details of the complaint. I can also go and have a look at the activity history and see this audit of all the steps that took part and how long they ran for. What that process also does is it updates the business audit, and inside here I can see part of the business audit that £50 was approved by the customer services team. So I've finished doing my necessary bits. What I'm going to do now is specify that this step in the life cycle of the complaint is completed. So I'll go to my complaint investigation here. I'm going to say the resolution was compensation. My comment I'm going to say is customer accepted the payment, and the action is investigation completed. So I'll submit that off, and effectively this would now move the task to, let's say, my manager, who would then do the review. So if you look at my page is now refreshed, you can see my comment in there, and I can see my case is now moved into the complaints review stage where we were previously in investigation. And during review, there's only a few actions that are now visible. So again, these actions determined by the case type, and what actions at what statuses you've defined. So what I'm going to do just for this demo now is just go to my complaint review, go into that task, and over here, you can have a look at the this person can look at the audit of the comments, have a look at the business audit of what's taking place, maybe go and have a look at any documents that have been collected so far, and then make a decision whether they are happy with the resolution that's taken place. So again, they could send that back, it'll loop the process back up to the investigation stage again, or I can pretty much go inside here and say, I am happy with the result. And my final action is going to be resolution accepted. So submit that off. And essentially that will move my process forward again. And what we can see is that my process and this complaint is now closed with the resolution accepted state. And I can see that all the processes have now been completed or running against it. And again, my case actions have now changed accordingly with the status change. And again, you can then go and wire up another process, if they were to, let's say, decide they want to reopen this. At the moment, none of these are implemented. It's only the compensation approval that I've implemented for this demonstration. So that's pretty much the demonstration. Again, the business audit, seeing the final status that the case closed in. You can go and generate a PDF of this and upload that as a PDF to, let's say, a record center. Maybe have this case available for, let's say, a couple of months, and then decommission this site if you need to, whatever you want to be able to implement it. All the data associated with the case is available through the K2 Smart Objects. The only stuff that isn't would be any unstructured information such as documents and records, and that'll be inside of SharePoint. But of course, you can move those as well once you close your case. So if I go back to my complaints management view, we can see there the complaint 17 is now no longer part of my open complaints, and that's been moved away. You could also add another report over here to show what your closed complaints are, maybe another little tab, or closed complaints, or whatever that might be. To find to be able to go and see what other reports there are, just go to the report manager. Inside there's the default reports, and there's a whole bunch of reports inside here that you can have a play with. One of the ones is the all completed cases. And if I go and choose a complaints management one, there we can see complaint 17 as part of the complaint, the closed and resolution accepted ones. And even from here, you can still drill down into the case site that was provisioned. All right, so that's the end of that quick overview and demonstration. Of course, it provides a lot of extensive. There's a lot of places you can extend it. There is the InfoPath document inside here. This is the one that's used inside of the process. So with inside here, you can go and I should have gone to design mode. This has been integrated with the K2 Smart Objects. So all the data that's surfaced up into this form comes through the K2 Smart Objects. And from within inside here, you can then go and obviously make it look a bit prettier or enhance some of the functionality. What pretty much happens is when this form opens, the case framework automatically populates the serial number if there is one, event, case ID, and business object reference. So those get automatically inserted into this InfoPath form. And then from that, I then use, for example, I use the event on form load. I have a look at whatever the value of the event is. And if the event is equal to, different rules here. So if the event is equal to investigate, I switch a view to the investigate view. If the event is equal to compensation, then I switch to the compensation view, which are these different views that are within inside of the process. This is the compensation view, which starts that compensation process. And behind the submit button of this one over here, I've got a rule over here that goes and executes the compensation details crate. It goes and creates that smart object, which behind that starts the workflow process. Right. So again, if you have any further questions, or if some things aren't working, or if you find any additional bugs or any other additional feedback, if you could email that to me. I'm going to be working on a next version of this just to take it just a little bit further. So my email is igor@k2.com. Again, the demo uses pretty much everything out of the box from there's no custom coded bits inside here. So what you see is pretty much what you get when you install K2 and you use a case management framework on top of it. Obviously, except for the actual scenario which you would have to build. So the complaints, or if you're doing an investigation management, or if you're doing HR onboarding or something along those lines, those are the bits that you would need to build. Right, so look out for further extensibility to this demonstration. It by far does not use all the capabilities that are part of the case framework, or nowhere near all of the capabilities that are part of the K2 Black Pearl product capabilities. So this is just a very light touch on some of the functionality that's available.